All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part two. Sorry about that breakup in the action there. But Thomas Jefferson, when it comes to his beliefs, he believes that a large federal government is going to threaten the liberty that was similar to the French philosophy of laissez-faire. And laissez-faire is this policy that the government should interfere as little as possible in the nation's economy. And we know that Jefferson has this idea of an agrarian society, one in which agriculture is the backbone of what is done. And this makes sense considering his background in Virginia. But he, again, wants to try to limit the power of the federal government. And again, very much this idea of laissez-faire. We're going to talk about a little bit later in his presidency, especially as we get to the Louisiana Purchase, how those ideas get challenged. But again, laissez-faire, the idea that it's hands off. Thomas Jefferson also is going to repeal all of the federal internal taxes, and he's going to fund the government through customs, and those are taxes on foreign imported goods. So all of the taxes that were set up during the Federalists, so Adams, and then, of course, before with Washington, those are all going to go away, and the idea is that the only way that we'll fund the government is through the tax on foreign imported goods. And so Thomas Jefferson is going to try very hard to limit the power of the national government, even going so far as to shrinking the size of the military. And so in what ways did he try to limit the power of that government? That's kind of where we're going. So one of the things that Jefferson was shut out of was judicial appointment process, because John Adams, through his last-minute judge appointments to the court, he set up the Judiciary Act of 1801. This was kind of that midnight court packing that occurs again under Adams' presidency. And that's going to lead to a very important Supreme Court case for Marbury versus Madison. And the biggest thing that comes out of Marbury versus Madison is not only does Jefferson now get to appoint some new judges, but judicial review comes out of this. And like we were talking about with the Constitution, this is where the Supreme Court is going to really define some of its power and to help resolve conflicts constitutionally. So again, this is the right of the Supreme Court to determine if a law violates the Constitution. And there are three important principles that I would like you to know as far as what judicial review does. So judicial review, one of the first principle I want to talk about is the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So when a state law or a local law differs from the Constitution or federal law, the federal law or the Constitution is the supreme one. It will outrank all of the local as well as state laws. The Constitution also must be followed when there is a conflict with any other law. So again, if we have a conflict between those two, the idea is that the Constitution needs to be followed. And then thirdly, the judiciary branch must uphold the Constitution and must nullify unconstitutional laws. In other words, when our Supreme Court hears cases, when they make a decision, they have to uphold it based on their interpretation of the Constitution. And if the law is found to be unconstitutional, it will be nullified. It will be gotten rid of. So those are our notes for this first section. Learners who came along for the journey, I really appreciate it. I hope that we can kind of help build on your historical knowledge of the United States. Students, we're going to do in a little bit later, we'll do a quick review just to make sure we're kind of picking up on some of these. But I want to thank everybody for listening to this edition of Mr. Merrigan's Moments in History. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.